What an interesting show. And I'm back with my special guests, the two filmmakers responsible for that documentary, Joan Kramer and David Heeley. Thanks so much again for this great evening you've given us with Katharine Hepburn and with the Fondas and with, you know, Spencer Tracy and everybody. And we have coming up Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. What's the overall thing that you think about when you think back on the work you've done? Are these are a whole totally different breed of people, right?
They're from that era before television, when there was a certain distance between the audience and the stars,
right,
which I think when you're watching in your living room, you don't get. But when you have to go out to a theater and you see them on the silver screen, there's a
3 stories tall, too.
Yes, there's a different aura. And we were dealing mostly with stars from that era who felt like they were beyond our reach somehow.
That they chose to trust us when their whole training was in the studio system, which nurtured, protected, and released only what the studio wanted to release about them in the publicity mills that the studios all had. Unlike today, where, you know, every time you turn around, you know a piece of news that we don't really care about everybody from politicians to sports stars to movie stars. But in their case, the fact that they were from that golden age of Hollywood, unreachable, as David said, and yet trusted us to do their life stories.
Of course, each show was almost a stepping stone to the next. Once one star realized that we'd been trusted, they realized that we were not going to do the dirty on them.
Who didn't you get that you would love to have gotten to?
Oh my God.
2. Just name 2.
Cary Grant.
We'd left on Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. He kept saying, "Call me next year." Every year, "Call me next year." Irving Berlin.
We had a show on the Gershwins lined up, which fell through.
I wanted to do Esther Williams.
We've got a whole chapter at the end of the book called "The Ones That Got Away."
Well, good. Wonderful book.
Thank you.
So I want to encourage everybody to read your book.
Thank you for the blurb you wrote for
My
it.
pleasure. My pleasure. It's a really interesting book. Interesting insights into these people, because you go into all these people that we've seen in these documentaries tonight and the details of that, and it's fascinating working with them, because these were bigger-than-life people.
Interestingly enough, in almost all cases, it wasn't just doing the show. We stayed in touch with them afterwards. It's amazing, but you know, when you work with people, the barriers come down and you develop a relationship.
And the other thing is that it was always beneficial. I usually was the one to book talent, but there were times, especially with women, and especially with older women, Hepburn, Adele Astaire, Ginger Rogers, I knew instinctively, take it, David. He's a man, he's a director, and he speaks with a British accent. Can't lose.
Right.
I'm not as good as she is at that, though. If Joe gets you on the phone, you're hooked. You've had it.
Thank you so much both for being here.
Thank you, Robert.
And
it's a pleasure.
It's been a wonderful time.
Thank you, Robert.
Well, Joan and David and I may be done for the night, but our look at their documentaries continues. Up next, a film that Joan and David made in 1988, featuring Lauren Bacall, talking about her life with the one and only Humphrey Bogart.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, Lauren Bacall gives the inside scoop in Bacall on Bogart. Then Bacall puts her lips together for Humphrey Bogart into Have and Have Not. And Bogey musters up dormant courage while in Key Largo.